if you want a new society, you need to figure out a strategy where the people in leadership are the ones who have the most at stake in changing the society, the ones who are going to be the least satisfied by little victories.
When you professionalize, the people with professional skills and credentials end up having more power. The donors to the organizations end up having more power than just a volunteer.
I ultimately feel like decisions are being made by big organizations, and the decisions are being influenced by either the board or by funders or by grants or really just upper level executive staff members, right? Who did research, they know the numbers, they know the policies, they know the facts, right? But they don't know the lived experiences sometimes.
How organizations, for example, are saying, yes, we are pro, like immigrant justice, yes, we are pro, like comprehensive immigration reform, but we're actually not willing to hire undocumented people on our staff, right? Because it puts us at a risk. And for us, the question has never been, do we take risks or not? The question is, what risks are we willing to take? Right? And how do we actually do that in an informed way? And I think that that informs who is in the room and who gets to make those decisions all along.
The reason it matters about who gets left out is because who gets left out is usually people most affected by the systems that the nonprofits are supposedly challenging. And that matters not in terms of like some kind of tokenistic, we need to include people, right? But actually because people in their lived experience understand those systems better than experts who haven't been caught up in those systems in the same way.
When we work on policies for low-income communities, when we work on policies for people we're not directly identified with, sometimes we can understand what might be the best policy for them, but not really understand how those policies directly impact or feel to them. That's why it's necessary and critical that those voices and those peoples and those experiences are always a part of our process just as much as we advocate that they should be a part of the political process.
There's a term, social entrepreneurship, that I see tossed around a lot, these days, and that term kind of indicates this image that what we just need is like the right person to graduate from Harvard, maybe from Harvard Business School, and have this vision about how to change poverty, how to end poverty, and that's how we're going to solve poverty. That kind of imagination that we just need the smart, right thinking from one charismatic individual, and that's how change is made, is completely opposite from everything we know about our movements. Right? We know that the real expertise and leadership around transforming poverty is going to come from like masses of poor people in coordinated movement together, solving those problems and creating a new world. But the idea that the same elite institutions that are invested in maintaining capitalism are going to be the ones that produce the knowledge that solves poverty is very much what sort of philanthropy invests in, that idea of that particular kind of expertise. That's what's valued. That's who runs philanthropy. That's who gives to philanthropy, and that's who is employed as program officers often and as foundation heads.
The biggest problem with a nonprofit form is that a very small group of people determine what that organization works on, and most organizations haven't created mechanisms to poll and survey their members, to hold open meetings where people can come in and say, I actually don't think we should be working on marriage equality. We might want to work first on welfare issues that are affecting access to benefits that we need. So those kinds of discussions, if they happen among the staffs of organizations or on the boards. They're rarely in most organizations. Aren't happening in an interactive way with a membership or a community that the organization seeks to serve.
Thinking about how to develop membership and develop large bases has been a really central piece in a lot of contemporary discussions about social movement infrastructure that resist nonprofitization. So nonprofits are encouraged to just look up to the funders and decide if that's who tells us if our work is good or not, whereas membership-based movements and organizations use strategies that are about having lots and lots and lots of people affected by the issue plugged in and governing the organization and holding the organization accountable for using strategies that those people believe in. And sort of building shared leadership, building shared analysis to make change that way. So that kind of membership-based work is really different than, like, for example, LGBT nonprofits that use the word member to talk about donors. It's like a really different framework than having members who are people most directly affected, who have a direct, meaningful governance role in the organization about its agenda, about its strategies, and about its leaders.
When the leadership is in the hands of the people most impacted, the agenda is completely different. The understanding is completely different, and that's the way it should be.